What's up, everyone? It's me, Adam Prime, and I'm back with the next week of the Blazing Toku Moviethon. And as Bellarok said last week, this year is going to be the OOO's 10-year after Resurrection of the Core Metals. That's the movie's title, right? But for whatever reason this week, Belrock wanted to co-host it with me. So, Belrock, what's the deal with that?
Well, I just always like to talk about OOOs because, I've never shown... Oh, God! Oh, no! No, not the witch! I'm not a stirring stick! Oh, no!
Are you about to talk about OOOs without me?
Yeah, no, I wasn't talking without you. Come on, let's talk about it. Just like the podcast.
Yeah, just like the podcast, but in video form.
Sorry for the interruptions and the delay of the start of this episode, but we're gonna start back over fresh, so welcome everyone. It is the Blazing Toku Moviethon with me, Adam Prime, and this week we're talking about the Kamen Rider OOO's 10 years after Core Metal of Resurrection. It is a really long title, and, this week is the first week ever of the Blazing Toku Moviethon where I have a host. And with me, as always, is my co-host to the TokuBrew podcast, Stormi, my lovely fiancée.
Did someone say OOOs?
I didn't. Well, I said it earlier. You had your chance.
I'm sorry. I'm not very good with cues.
But this is a really fun movie, We are both big OOO's fans.
I'm sorry, this is just not very comfortable.
Then why did you put it on?
You can take them off. Anyway, I think I have a better idea for this thing.
And a totally not bad cutaway effect.
Hi.
Man.
Does TokuBrew make a little bit more sense now?
Yeah, that was totally real magic and totally not just editing.
I got real magic.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're talking about the Best Boys for a 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, we are both big OOO's fans.
As you can tell. It's very hot in this.
Well, it's the summer.
Do it for the theme.
But yeah, OOO's is one of our personal favorite Kamen Riders. It's like, it's hard to place him, but I've watched OOO's a good number of times. I've watched the show 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I've only watched it the one. I want to watch it again, but I have to watch other one.
But there's so much to watch. There's so much to watch.
It's definitely one of my top.
It was just a fun show.
Good stuff.
And before we get started, if you haven't watched OOO's, the show, or this movie, leave right now.
Oh, big spoilers.
Like, leave right now, because there's nothing else here besides us talking about spoilers, both for the show and the movie, even though the show was 10 years ago. So you had your chance to watch it.
Live! Watch OOO's. It's good.
Yeah, so if you haven't watched the OOO's or the movie, 100% if you haven't watched the movie, go watch it before you watch this.
Definitely.
Like,
at least.
I feel like you shouldn't know. Like, we went in surprisingly. We hadn't heard any of the
yeah, I'm shocked that we didn't hear any spoilers.
Yeah, it's like we knew about like the forms and everything, but we didn't know how everything was gonna go. And I think this was a good movie. What do you think?
Immediate depression.
Yeah.
We were gonna film this immediately after watching it, but I was busy crying for like over an hour.
It's a sad movie. But I guess let's get into.
Already feeling it.
But before we get into it, let's just talk about OOO's itself real quick. Who are you most glad to see again?
Honestly, just the pure fact that everyone was there. Like, they got every single actor
Like, they got
back.
most of the actors back. Like, but meanwhile,
Is there
they didn't.
anybody that they like
Dr. Maki wasn't in there.
I guess that is true, Dr. Maki. But he wasn't really prevalent in this. He only really got mentioned.
Well, yeah.
But my goodness, they got pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
And they haven't aged a day, because of course they haven't.
Yeah. So, let's talk about some of the new suits so far. What did you think of the King? The King and his Kato.
I liked the helmet itself, because...
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really... Again, if you have seen this at this point, right? Like, they do
Again, you were warned.
Suit.
Spoilers are going to be ahead.
They used this suit twice.
Well, no, not that. What about the one where it was like Tatuba with the sleeves, and it still had the helmet?
That's fair. I really liked the helmet. Like, it's really funny because the way that they had it cracked make it look like he had Mr. Angry Eyes the whole time, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Because especially when it glowed, it was just like these white cracks just making him look like...
But yeah, no. But yeah, somehow here's the other thing. It does not tell you how the King resurrected. Like, this movie doesn't... He's just there.
Kind of did.
They said something about the alchemist that made the metals.
Yeah, and the fact that, again, spoilers, I'm going to stop saying that because you know by now. Because
You've been warned.
You've been warned. It's your last warning. Because, like, the man made metals, like, maybe, like, because they tried to make new ones, it, like, resurrected him or something. Whatever, they needed to make a movie.
Yeah, long story short, they needed to make a movie. And, like, all the Greeds are back. And they got all those actors back, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But, like, you find out pretty quick into it, like, we pretty much... Ank's the main character of this movie.
Yeah,
Ank's the main character.
Yeah, it pretty much follows Ankh.
Like, yeah, he is fully back. He is fully revived.
It is actually him this time.
Yeah, it's not an illusion like other movies or anything. It is fully Ankh as he is as a character. And
very happy.
I honestly I liked it. It's like the actors didn't miss a beat. He was just fully in there for it, and I really did enjoy it.
You could tell these actors were so happy to come back to these roles. Like,
know,
like, especially if you've seen, like, pictures of, like, behind the scenes of the cast acting, like, or even just hanging out on their own time.
Well,
like,
yeah.
They
get along.
They get along. There's a lot of chemistry between them, and they, like, really love these roles and these characters. Like, you can...
Yeah, and there's a lot of tokus like that, where a lot of the cast just stay in contact with each other.
Which I love. That's really sweet.
And overall... yeah, we later find out that something happened to Edgy, which at the beginning of the movie, because Ankh mysteriously sees Edgy, but he doesn't go back to meet with the rebellion, because we're in a post-apocalyptic future.
Yeah,
like King O's has destroyed all of the world.
I will give this movie one thing right here, right now. They had a lot of balls in this movie. Like, usually, like, all of the...
And they didn't fix it at the end.
Yeah, like, it's just like, yeah, the world is kind of still in ruins. Most of people are dead.
Yeah,
and that's just kind of that's the baseline circumstances that don't just magically get fixed in the end.
Yeah, the king just kind of wants to become God.
They're not scared to do anything. Nothing is sacred. And the fact that they opened up with the fact that it's just like, the end has happened. Everyone is dead.
Yeah.
Everything's on fire.
And then we pretty much get told, because Hina's part of the resistance, the cafe owner's part of the resistance, obviously Goto, and Date. We see Kogami a couple times.
He's just kind of somewhere.
Well, he's always on a screen. He's never physically there
just
with
kind of somewhere.
Making cakes.
Happy birthday.
But I guess real quick, you want to talk about Birth X?
Oh,
the new birth suit is awesome.
That is a beautiful suit.
Awesome suit.
All the pinks and purples and the blues.
Yeah, I really like Birth X. And that's where they pretty much get the lowdown of being like, Edgy was fighting the King O's, and a little girl got in the way, and they got exploded. We haven't seen him since.
Oh yeah, sound familiar.
Like, yeah, I was about to say, pretty much replaying his backstory.
But this
and
time
then, like,
he actually does reach her and...
Wait, don't...
Well, yeah, you see it. He, like, grabs her.
Yeah,
and
you see him,
them.
Yeah, they explodes both of them. You're right, okay. And...
we just throw
and, like, everyone's like, we haven't seen him since, and Ank's like, oh, I know where he is.
I saw him earlier.
Yeah, he told me where he's living.
And everyone's like, yay!
Yeah, so him and Hina go see him, and then, like, you immediately notice that Edgy feels off. Yeah, like, Edgy doesn't feel right. And, like,
weird.
Ankh asks him, hey, what happened to the little girl? Because we heard, or no, was it Hina? Might have been Hina. But one of them asked, where was the little girl? And
yeah, she's dead.
And like, yeah, and Edgy just casually says he's dead, and all of a sudden,
I was immediately
everyone
like,
was
"That's
on
not
guard,
my
being like, that's not Edgy.
Like, that's not him. I was immediately just like,
yeah, exactly. And you pretty much see them get into a fight. Uva shows up and was like, I'm gonna fight them because the king was sending him to go get Ankh. And
another thing that pops up that really sets up a red flag of he was asking because Ankh got the medals that they had collected so
yeah,
far
that Edgy had
in a little thing, and he's the one asking Ankh, being like, "Oh, throw me another combo. Oh, throw me this, throw me that."
I need more medals.
I need more medals. When in the show, it was always Ankh being like, "Hey, Edgy, use this." Like he was always the one strategizing and calling the shots, kind of. But in the other one's like.
Yeah, it got really suspicious, and then all of a sudden, like you said in that fight, and like they defeat him, and he was just like, "Oh, I always wondered how this felt," and you're immediately like, "Whoa!" And then you see somehow, I can't remember how, but you see into like Edgy's body, and you see like 3 of like the caterpillar bee and ant medals are in there, and you're like, "What?" And you find out that there's a greed possessing him.
Yeah.
And his name is Goda.
Goda, yeah.
Yeah, and like. And you're just immediately suspicious. He gets, like, pink bangs. And he's like, oh, Edgy died.
Eyes. He's like, oh, yeah, he's dead.
He's like,
so casually, like, it's the worst news of all time.
Yeah, and, like, Kagami even, like, tells him, like, oh, this is how... And we're like, oh, maybe we could use Edgy to make his desire to create a new greed. So his desire to help people...
They used him as, like, a host.
Yeah, exactly, is to what brought this greed to life. Like, we never really got to see him in a monster form. We do see his rider form, which I think is Kamen Rider Goda.
I believe so.
So, what do you think of that one? That was a good suit.
I really liked the helmet in particular.
Yeah, the helmet was awesome.
Was this the reuse of the other?
Yeah, like the king absorbed all of the
pads.
Yeah, like absorbed, and so did Goda later. Like absorbed all the greeds because movie.
Oh yeah, and like when we first saw it and we saw the king with that suit, I was immediately like, it looks okay.
It looks fine.
But it's like, oh, he had like a lot of like the mishmashed like limbs and stuff.
Goda had better like
sense.
gloves and boots.
Yeah, Goda had like a helmet, I think the gloves, and he had like shoes.
Yeah, he had like purple.
Like it was really cool. It was like a purple
Tora claws.
Was it like a Hercules beetle with the big thing?
No, he had like like a not a scorpion.
Something. But
he had a bug of some sort.
But just those little elements that matched made it so much better. I was like, oh, all my complaints are gone. That looks completely finished.
And
good suit.
Yeah. But, like, yeah, so immediately they start questioning him. Kagami tells them how Goda got to life and everything.
Well, I mean...
Yeah, and all of a sudden, like, he pretty much tells them that Edgy's dead. And, like, none of them are believing it because they're like, well, when Ankh was in Shingo, Hina's brother's...
Yeah.
body, that he eventually came out of it. So they were hoping that they're like, well, we can't separate them because we have to make sure that, like, Edgy's body is fully healed.
It's pretty much a similar situation.
He fell.
Oh, he died.
He's okay. Just like the movie.
Just like the movie. But, now he's like, haha, instead of an actual
Yeah, just keep going.
He's alright. He's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, what you're talking about, he's good.
But... It's pretty much a similar situation with, like, Ankh and Hina's brother. Of just, he was close to death, and the only thing keeping him from...
Which he did take over Hina's brother in this movie.
Yeah, he did. He just kind of was like, haha.
But he did get his full body at the end.
Let me finish.
Yeah, keep going.
So mean. But yeah, it's a similar situation with a new guy in Edgy, basically. Edgy was basically this close to death. Pretty much is dead at this point, and he just...
Well, no, they confirmed that he was dead when they did it.
And then he swooped in, and he's the one that kept him from, just...
Yeah, so that's why he has all of Edgy's memories and everything. Yeah. But, like, no one from the main crew who knew Edgy would be like, they're like, we know you're not him.
Yeah, everyone's just like...
Even Date and Goto were like, we know you're gonna betray us.
He's pretty sus.
We know you're gonna betray us, Goda. And obviously he does.
Also, can I just point out that the hand acting and the puppetry for Ankh is just top tier in this movie.
It's amazing.
It's just so exaggerated. And I
yeah,
love it.
even Ankh himself was is very. I like how much bird he was.
He was very bird. Like he would like literally, he would like perch and just like while he's eating ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. And there were some very touching moments, and like it brought you so many emotions back from the show. I honestly really did like it, and
I feel like it was something we never really got to see in Ankh because he's very much a tsundere of just like, I don't like you or anything. What are you talking about? Like,
yeah.
That's pretty much him in a nutshell. But because it's like he's seeing Edgy, but it's not him, he's just so offended anytime he just
he said
mouth.
don't
he's just like, shut up, you're not Edgy. And
yeah,
he
pretty
just,
much like yeah.
Like we see the side of him that just is just like, where's my boy? Where's my friend? Where's my friend? But
but yeah, no, and. Pretty much after that, Uva goes back to the bar that King O's and all the other greeds are at, and he's like, why did you even come back? Absorbs him, and then absorbs all the other greeds. Then we get an O's, like a King O's and like regular Goda, like Goda in Edgy's body fighting King O's. They have that kind of fight, and Ankh gets absorbed, but then explodes.
Well, here's the thing. He tried a couple other combos. They weren't really working, and then he started to like try to absorb him
Goda,
as well.
yeah.
And then Ankh gets in the way and is immediately like bird hand forward.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, I can't have you be absorbed because I don't want Edgy to die. Like,
yeah, he's like, if you disconnect from Edgy,
I'm not doing this for you.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not doing it for you, I'm doing it for Edgy.
Like,
and then,
fuck him.
Yeah, and then pretty much they have the fight and everything, and it continues. But this time, he goes Puto Tira, like he's inside of King Oz's body, grabs the grabs the Puto Tira medals, throws them out of his body for him to use, and like that's pretty much where the go home is. And he explodes at the end of the battle into a pile of medals, and you think, oh, okay, that's the end of the movie.
Like, fully formed.
Yeah, Ankh's fully back.
All his medals.
And then Goda is just like, oh, I could use all of those core medals to get more power, so I could fulfill Edgy's desire, which Edgy's desire is to help everyone. And, that's too great.
That's what he thinks.
Well, yeah, it's like, it's too great for him,
They even acknowledge it's like, oh, Edgy's whole thing was like, he was willing to like dive headfirst into a battle and risk like dying every single time, no matter what. Because Dante and Goto were like basically like dadding up the place and being like, you taking care of our boy? Like,
well, pretty much. They said, and they knew he's gonna betray him.
Yeah, like that's one of the it never worked on them. They're just like, you're not Edgy, but
well, yeah.
And that was one of the things I don't think the new guy quite understood was the fact that, oh yeah, he was willing to do that for anyone, no matter what. And I think he mistook that drive as desire when that's not. I mean, yes, he does desire to do that, but
yeah.
Like,
so overall,
that's more of a drive than a desire.
Yeah, but
I think that's where he kind of went wrong.
Yeah, and overall, he gets like absorbed. He gets a new Kamen Rider Goda form because he absorbs all the metals and everything into him, except for Ankh's, obviously.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it takes a couple of Ankhs because he immediately reverts into just being a hand again.
Well, no, because you remember they're fighting,
that's true.
And everything, and then like he breaks his whole new body into just being a hand. Mm-hmm. And, like, Edgy stops him, and he's like, hey, you stopped me. Oh, you're useless. Poops Edgy out of his body. And, like...
Not pretty much.
And then you have Ankh just be like, no! And, like, goes into Edgy.
And the thing I've always wanted to see...
Yeah.
Like, Edgy with the Ankh hand, Ankh in his body.
Oh, with the blonde streaks.
He has, like, both blonde streaks and, like, red little feathers.
Yeah.
Or at least little, like, red wispies in his
hair. And
he has... Did they put contacts in his eyes? Or...
I don't.
No, I don't think they did. Actually.
But here's the other part that this made this immediately sad because as soon as he does that, he tells Ankh, he's like, "This is my final battle," and they really just did the reverse of like the final battle from the final episode of O's, where it's like, like Edgy, like in Ankh just being like, "Oh, this is the last time," and like gives him his last combo, and you hear. Instead of hearing Ankh's voice doing the Tajador combo, you hear both of them do the Tajador combo.
Also, these are is it Eternity versions? Like, it's the new Rainbow ones.
Yeah, it's Tajador Eternity. And Ankh's in control.
Yeah.
Ankh is in control, and you have the Ghost Edgy coming in and helping him fight Goda.
Good stuff,
and
man.
It's very interesting and a very good fight. And I love the suit.
so good.
I love the suit.
Again, lots of really good suits.
I like the medals, though, too. I like how they have the
yeah.
green and yellow in them.
Mm-hmm.
And...
God, I was crying for, like, the last third of this movie.
Yeah, and then, like...
From the point of, like, him possessing and them getting to talk, finally, for, like, the first time in 10 years, it was just tears from then on out.
And then, like, yeah, they pretty much defeat Gota. And this is where the saddest part of the movie happens. And it's, like... And, like, they win. And he goes to untransform. And, like, Ankh still was going to be connected so he could heal. But Eiji pushes him out of his body. Like, just like how the ending of, like, when Ankh let go of him when he was falling in the final episode, and you see Eiji on the ground dying because, you know, he already died.
He's
and,
floated.
Yeah, and, like, they're saying their goodbyes, but, like, right as he's dying, he's like, I wonder whatever happened to that little girl, but we thought she died because that's what we heard. And Sakurako comes in.
Is that her name?
Yeah, Sakurako.
I always just knew her as Cake Lady.
She comes in with the little girl, and he's just like, "Oh, I saved her. I was finally able to reach them. My hand was close enough." And he's gone. It's a very sad end where it's like Ankh is healed, and we find out Ankh was healed because when Eiji was dying, Eji's last wish and last desire was powerful enough to bring Ankh back to life.
I guess, and, you know, usually it's like, oh, because they need to make a movie, or, oh, because they need a plot, like, you know, just kind of like, very much like what I like to call, like, the comic book effect of just, it's a comic, you know, it just happened, you know, but that actually makes a lot of sense in canon, of just, like, what's a more powerful desire than a man's last dying wish?
Exactly.
I think you put it really well, because you said something along those lines, and what I thought they would do, because the medals in 2, I thought it would, like, fuse them back together, but instead it just, like, took one of the halves and just completely healed it.
It looks like it just did both. He had both halves.
No, he held up the big half was the thing, and then it, like...
Well, either way, yeah, it got fixed.
Either way, it was just like, oh my god.
And this movie's sad. It still doesn't fix the sadness of the ending because now it's reversed.
Yeah.
And with Eiji, you can't bring him back.
And when I tell you that there was like 10 years worth of tears streaming down these actors' faces, again, I was crying.
They were both crying.
Everyone was fucking crying. And, like, when I said I cried for the last third of this movie, pretty much everyone else was, too. Aang, Eiji, Hina, everyone was crying, so thank God I didn't at least look that crazy. Everyone's emotions were completely built up to this point, and I'm still sad about it.
But overall, I liked this movie.
I'm so emotionally distressed.
Yeah, like, this movie was sad, but it still was satisfying. It was fun. It was not fully... It's like, I feel like I wanted more, and I wanted a better ending where it's like they're together.
It's the epitome of a tragedy, basically.
Well, yeah, it's like it's still a tragedy. And...
I mean, by the way, it just ends.
Yeah, that's where it ends.
It's like, it ends, like, he dies, and then it shows...
Then it plays a slow version...
Like, watching the sunset, and then it just plays a slow version of...
Anything Goes.
Of Anything Goes. They got this freaking singer back, by the way. Everyone came back for this movie, except for Dr. Maki. I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
But, and there was, at one point, there was, like, just, like, a little showing of all, like, the sweet moments you saw in the movie. And it just freaking ends. And that's how it ends. Like, there's no, like, after the credits scene or anything. It just ends... And you're sad, and that's it.
So, yeah. If you are an O's fan, like I said, you should have watched it. If you watch this for spoilers,
still watch
why?
It.
Go
Honestly,
watch
still
it.
Watch it.
Still watch it.
It's only like, what?
If you are a fan of O's, you are a die-hard O's fan. If you have bought the CSM...
Like we did.
Yes. We are waiting for it to come in.
It hasn't... It'll be here...
We got the 10th anniversary version.
It'll be here in November or something.
But...
It'll be here in a while.
But I would highly recommend this.
Oh my gosh,
okay,
please watch this.
What was your favorite suit from the movie?
Oh my gosh. I don't know, man. Okay, we only watched this like one time, so it's like obviously my opinion could probably change. I really wish I could say Eternity,
Mm-hmm.
But
You're gonna say Goda?
I really liked the New Birth one. That one.
Oh,
just
that
looked
one was
so
good.
And maybe the new guys version of like the Kings thing, because
Yeah,
again,
Goda.
it basically fixed all the criticisms I had about
Yeah.
it. So it's like, I mean, that's a good looking suit right there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really know. They were all just really good.
Yeah.
They're all
Favorite
really
scene?
solid. Oh, I don't know which one made me the least sad.
That's fair.
I mean, come on, it's got to be the scene where Ankh and Edgy talk for like the first time in forever, like legitimately.
Yeah, where it's not Goda.
It's just, it was so powerful, man.
But yeah, no.
But can I just say that, like, after we watched this, I was still crying. I was just like, how am I gonna go on camera? I have to go on camera and talk about this. This is my debut. And I'm sitting here just like puffy-eyed and teary and gross and snot, and I'm just like, oh, am I gonna talk about this?
Yeah. But hey, you did.
Oh my god, I did it. Lots of makeup.
But yeah,
to
no.
fix that.
But yeah, no. Overall,
God, this was
like I said, we could. If you're an O's fan, watch this
it.
movie.
Absolutely. I feel like this is kind of like the epilogue. Like
this is an epilogue.
I
yes.
feel like with the other movie, I don't even remember the name of it.
Well, there's a bunch where Ankh comes back.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of always teased. We're just like, oh, Ankh's here, and then he's gone, and then he's here.
But yeah, now for sure, Ankh is back. Ankh is alive.
Ankh is 100% alive, and then Edgy is 100% dead. So it's like, fuck me, I guess. Why can't they just be happy? But
so yeah.
I have to say, though, I do have a little bit of criticisms with the movie.
Okay.
Of just... I think I mentioned this to you before, and I don't know if I'll be able to word it as well, but just... with O's being as popular as it is, and it's older, so obviously he's in a lot of stuff. It's like, obviously, it's like, oh, they keep bringing Ankh back just briefly and then killing him again, or...
Yeah.
For whatever excuse that they make for the movies. And I get it. But it felt gratuitous after a while. So when this happened, and then Edgy died, it almost felt like the gratuity continued, but in an even more heartbreaking way. Because Ankh isn't human. He's metals.
He's agreed.
It's, even with like his metal cracked, it's like, yeah, we always held out a little bit of hope that maybe one day he could be fully back. And guess what? It happened. Like, it actually did happen. But with Edgy dead, he's a human. It's like, you can't necessarily bring that back. And again, I will give them this. They had a lot of balls to do that because, holy crap, they killed the protagonist of the series.
Yeah, the plot armor didn't save him.
His plot armor chipped away. But it's like, again, and I'll give them all the credit for that because that's a really hard thing to do, but I don't know how they're gonna, like, because obviously O's is popular. He's a part. The Kamen Rider's still going on. He's in the background of stuff. I mean, hell, we just watched a thing not long ago where it was a bunch of riders and stuff.
Well, yeah, he's still there.
And if he's in the background, it's like, now I'm like, what are they gonna do?
They've made more bullshit excuses.
I know, but gosh, it just hurt.
Yeah, it hurt because it's like you just want it to be solved and it's not.
I just want them to be happy.
But
it can never be.
But yeah, no. But I think that's pretty much it. We've ran pretty long.
You did ask me some nice questions. I like to extend the same to you. Do you have any like favorite suits or any like?
I gotta give it to Eternity, man. Eternity and Birth X are both really good. But like, yeah.
And like any like favorite scenes or?
I don't know. Like again, I like that scene where they really just did the reverse of the final episode scene, and that's pretty much one of my favorites.
That was really good.
But yeah,
very poetic.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I overall really like this movie. Again, highly recommended, especially if you're an O's fan.
Gosh,
and if you haven't watched the O's, if you haven't watched O's, go watch O's. Yeah,
like
exactly.
Right now, what are you doing?
We've been going at this for almost a half an hour.
Really? Wow.
Yes. So, I guess we should get out of here.
I mean, shoot. Like, do you have any, like, before we go, just, like, do you have any theories on, like, what they might do? Because I know there's a birth special coming up.
Yeah, but we already know that's from a different universe.
Yeah,
it's prequel.
It's a prequel. It's, like, right before the world went to shit. And it's a different dimension. It seems like the characters are kind of like, oh, their personalities are different. And I think Ank's there.
Ank's the Dr. Maki in that world.
Oh,
it
is
seems.
he? Is that
Remember, he had the
is?
doll. The doll had the Ankh
I didn't
arm.
know that was on his arm, but I just noticed he had glasses. But like that'll be interesting, and I believe, and it's not a secret that like Hina is always in that universe.
Yeah.
Because we see her like wearing the belt and doing the thing, so it's like, do you think that's what they're gonna do from like series from now on if they don't?
I don't
continue
think
this?
so. They
It's
do.
like, oh, it's Hina.
No, I don't even think they're gonna do that.
Do you think maybe they'll make it Ankh now instead of Edgy?
No, because I can't see them doing that because, again, they would still need an actor back. It's not an Imagine thing where they can just throw the Imagine. Honestly, I think they're just not going to act like this really has happened. She's just going to be there.
Yeah. I mean, like, you said that, like, you're satisfied with this completely.
I'm not satisfied with it at all. I'm just...
You said
I
it's
had to...
satisfying ending.
Well, no, it's like, I have to accept it because it has to be...
Yeah.
There's nowhere else to go.
But it just, like, it's almost... I did this comparison earlier with you. It's like the ending of Infinity War. I mean, spoilers for Marvel if you care. They've been out for a while as well, but I guess spoilers for that too. Like, it's at the end of, like, Infinity War when it's like all hope just kind of feels lost. Like, there's no glimmers of hope. And then you have
Endgame.
And then you have Endgame. And then it's like, yeah, it's still a tragic end, but it's satisfying. I feel like this is like the end of Infinity War, and then they said, okay, we're not making any more Marvel movies. I'm just like...
Yeah, that is fair. We don't know how they're going to fix their apocalyptic future.
I feel like this isn't over, but there's nothing announced, so it's like
Well, outside of that birth special, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't...
Who knows?
I just feel lost. I'm just like, where do I go?
I don't know. It's weird.
I really feel like that there has to be something else coming, but again, nothing is announced, so we just don't know. This is just the ending for all we know.
Well, yeah, this is the ending to O's for all we know.
Like, my heart is physically broken.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, it's a good freaking movie. I know I've been dogging on this movie a lot, but it is a good freaking movie. I mean, the fact that it made me feel that many emotions at all is a great sign. Again, especially if you love O's, as I obviously love it so much, so it's like, I mean, I can't give it, like, I can't say it's a bad movie. I really can't.
Again, if you're an O's fan, watch it.
Definitely, like, oh my gosh, I don't want to stop talking about it. But
we gotta go.
I know, I'm sorry.
But okay.
It's just, this movie hurt me on a personal level, okay?
We will have to do a full episode of TokuBrew on O's.
Definitely.
As a whole.
Oh
As a whole, we should do it.
I mean, there's so many series that we should
Yeah, it's like, come on. We thought it's O's. We can talk about O's for a little bit.
I can talk about O's forever. Honestly, I love
Yeah.
that show so much.
But okay. I think that's pretty much it.
Is there
Any
anything else
final
you wanna-
thoughts? No, I'm good.
You get... I talked his ear off, I guess.
Either way. So,
I guess, yeah.
I hope Bellerock's okay, because he still's got to announce that, he has to announce the next movie. Take it away, Bellerock. Till next time.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for coming on. And, for real this time, take it away, Bellerock.
God, that sucked. All I did was want to talk about a movie, but no. But whatever. Next week's movie is Kamen Rider Beyond Generations. Why do I do this job? Oh well. See you next week.